The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello everybody, welcome to Tokucast Reviews. I have stopped giving a shit what episode number it is. Marcus hasn't.
Mm-hmm. It has been a little bit. It's episode 105.
105. We really should just stop counting at this point.
It's fun to have numbers.
Garo.
105 episodes.
Garo Vanishing.
Garo Vanishing Line.
Yes, we are doing season 3 of the anime, aka after going back and doing terrible with season 2. We are now at season 3. So, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired today, so it is
I think we all are.
This is the coffee of hopes and dreams. The Lord knows I need it. Let's start with the opening, as we always do.
Yeah.
I've heard better, I've heard worse.
The first one is okay. The second one is done by Jam Project, and I like Jam Project.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the second opening a lot better.
I like the visuals on both openings. The songs themselves,
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that.
When it's
Not
like pure orchestration or just like pure Gregorian chant, it's sort of fades into the background a little bit.
both of them I just skipped. So
I don't blame you. You watch it once, and then you watch the second one once, and then
it's like, well, now I know what it is.
yeah, now I know exactly what I'm.
Now I can contribute to this part of the conversation, and now we can move on to the next part.
Yay.
I sort of want to talk about this show as a whole.
Okay. That's okay with me.
You want to do the good, the bad, the terror bad kind of deal?
I actually like the show, though.
I'm just saying, just that kind of structure, not go episode by episode.
Yeah, I'm a little too tired today, people. I'm sorry. Usually I would go full on the synopsis, especially when they go to a show I like. So.
Now, are we going to be judging this as an anime or as a toku?
It's an anime, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll judge this as a Garo.
We can judge it. How about we do this? We judge it as a show.
Fair enough. Middle tier for me, just kind of, it didn't really leave that much of an impression on me, but I didn't, despise watching it.
I really like this one.
I really like this one, too.
A huge step up after the last one.
Well, that's not saying much.
And I gotta say, after leaving X8 month, it's nice to also jump into something good.
Yeah. After coming off of Crimson Moon, which was god-awful, and I believe that Mappa did not do Crimson Moon, but Mappa did this one.
Did we watch Crimson Moon?
We did.
Which one was that?
Season 2.
Of the anime.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we watched
I forgot it had a subtitle.
I just try to forget that it exists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I just don't think I'd like a solid 6-7 out of 10. Above average, but not something to write home about. I'm not going to recommend this to all my anime friends.
I honestly would. This is one of those ones where I'm just like, watch seasons 1 and 3 and never talk about season 2 ever.
I think one of the strongest aspects of this show is the characters.
Yes.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
They're all really good.
Let's talk about Sword first and the fact that I want to be trapped between his goddamn thighs.
Oh, you'd be trapped there forever because he got some meaty gams.
I am good with that.
Thunder thighs.
I have dreams and aspirations, and they're all in between his goddamn thighs.
I don't blame you.
So
I really like Sword as a character.
Sword is great.
Mm-hmm.
Sword is hilarious.
A
lot of personality.
Very big personality, very big guy. I like that he's an older, bigger guy. I like that departure from... Because whether it's live action or anime, pretty much every other Garo season we've seen, the protagonist is like a skinny Japanese guy in his, late teens or early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Late 20s at most.
So to get a guy like Sword who is 6'8",
dude is massive,
super massive guy who is just he fills the screen with his presence.
Who wears a suit that can barely fit.
Oh, he deliberately ordered that shirt to be a couple sizes too small.
I don't thirst often.
And I don't.
When I do.
And I don't blame him.
Gee, I wonder why you thirst.
I don't thirst often, but when I do.
He has a 18-pack.
He's just huge.
Oh, he's got a 6-pack. It's just the cans are the size of, my head.
And I love this suit. I like his version.
It's a very good suit. I like his civilian clothes as well.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it was weird. It was a weird transition because I don't really think about season 2 and 4 a lot.
Of the live action?
Of the live action. To see Garo in like, I don't want to say modern day, but like futuristic, I guess.
Yeah, because this is still pretty much the modern day. It's like an alternate version of our world.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is...
I guess just because it's the anime, it feels... Because I know Garo's always been modern day, but with the anime, it started off in much more of a fantasy setting.
Like medieval times.
I guess it felt like a transition, even though it technically isn't.
Yeah,
because we went from... It's
medieval Europe.
We went from medieval Europe with the religious oppression, and then we went to feudal Japan with political intrigue, and now we are in
motorcycles and skyscrapers.
It's modern day America, and we have corporate.
My point being though that we're always kind of. But like I wanted to say it's weird to be in Garo in modern day, but if you look at the live action, it's all modern day. But I guess because it's the anime, it feels like a transition.
Garo live action is very much urban fantasy. Mm-hmm. It is,
which is great. I love that.
It's the mask of our world, but beneath it lies the hidden world of the Makai Knights.
Spider monster who's a vending machine.
Yeah,
that is still one of my favorite scenes in all of Garo. No, not the monster part. The part where he just walks up and grabs the guy. Quietly walks him and just goes, "No, you need to leave." And looks at the vending machine. An eye opens like, "I'm gonna leave."
I'm going to listen to you.
Just the smile on his face.
That's when season 4 became good.
Just the smile on his face.
But back to this.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think, especially having him being the older brother for most of the show's
older brother, father figure, I think it really works.
Yeah, he works severely as the protagonist, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Or rather, the deuteragonist, because it's mostly Sophie.
I would call him...
You can have more than one protagonist.
Ryuki.
I would call him the protagonist.
Just because of how you define a protagonist, really.
If you think back to what we learned in theater, yes.
Who has the most lines? Who is their name in the title? And does the story revolve around them?
Yes. Or like, what is the question? Which is also subjective.
But in this case,
he fits 2 out of 3 categories at least.
True, but it also...
Yeah, because the story doesn't completely follow him. It more follows Sophie.
That's the one category he doesn't fit, but his name is...
It does follow Sophie, but their stories are so interlinked.
Yeah.
I guess...
It's
I mean, now that you mention it, I would consider it like a dual protagonist situation, and I would consider our deuteragonist to be Gina and Luke.
Yeah, because they do get their own solo episodes.
They get solo episodes. We learn about them. They get their own histories.
We learn the most about Luke, not so much about Gina.
Well, Gina has the whole
huge breasts.
I was going to say the mock
freaking sword man.
I love that about his character. Every time he sees a big old pair of boobs, just respectful.
Bless.
Thank you.
Usually I don't like characters like that, but I think it's because of the fact that it works with him so well.
He's not pervy about it.
Exactly.
No,
he's not like Mineta
he's not
from
like
My Hero.
He's not like, ooh, I'm going to grab you. It's like, I'm going to thank... It's like I'm so glad to be alive.
It's the most respectful pervy thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm...
The freaking episode in the hotel... Where
sexualizing you, but I am, but it's like good for you kind of sexualizing. Like, you work it, girl.
He knows what he likes. Yeah. Where he's like going in the hotel where he's like monologuing about how boobs are.
I love that.
Because
they just walk away.
It's like, this is but then like he stands at the door and just continues his monologue from the beginning. And I love that scene. And it's great.
Sort of just hilarious. Yeah. I think it's because he's just a little bit of a dork.
He is.
So it helps that work.
I mean, like, one of the first lines we hear is after he rescues Sophie for the first time.
It's just nice to have such a multi-dimensional
after saving her from the fortune teller horror. And the first thing he says to her is like, steak or tacos, what do you want? And I love that. It's like you've been through some trauma. Let's get you some food. Let's take care of you. Which brings me to one of the things about the show that I loved the most. I've talked in the past a lot about how the Japanese have a tendency to focus more on emotions and grabbing you by the collar and saying, you need to feel sad, feel this emotion because this is the emotion we want you to feel.
Yeah.
And it all feels unearned and cloying. And this is a show that didn't do that. There is episode 9 in particular comes to mind. Because after episode 8, when...
the fight?
After the fight.
Yeah, because you never see the fight, which I actually liked. Usually I'd be like, let's go for the big action scene. No.
A dumber show would have done that.
Yeah, a dumber
show would have done that. I want to, there's a point about the finale I'm going to make later. But we have that big fight. There's so much destruction. And
this is the first time
Sophie...
let's talk about before that, though.
I need to... That's what I'm getting to. I need to make a point about her.
The nun!
I forget her name, and I'm sorry.
Sister. That's basically what they call her.
Sister is what they call her. But, you know, the woman who has raised Sophie in the orphanage where she grew up after she lost her brother. And, well, he's gone, so, you know.
He's just not there.
But yeah, you know, she's a badass. She's fighting this horror hand to hand, just a regular person. The Dark Knight, I forget his name. Knight, be able... Yeah, Sword, Knight, yeah, weird names, but whatever. But he shows up, he kills her, and she's traumatized by this. And then, earlier the next episode, Garo gets his mission to travel to El Dorado. And he takes Sophie with him, but that whole episode, episode 9 is...
9 are perfect.
You have been... It's like Sophie... It's like, let's look after Sophie's mental health. They take a moment, they breathe. Within the context of the story, it works so perfectly because we have a goal, we have to get to it, but it's going to take us some time. So let's take a minute, let's just breathe, collect ourselves, and let's look after Sophie. Let's make sure she's okay.
You want to talk about episode 9, I want to talk about episode 10.
We can do that too.
Because
that's Luke's follow-up episode.
I think this is the best episode of the entire show.
Oh, really?
Because it does not focus really on the main cast. It gives a character to the entire city that they're in.
Yeah.
And how they dealt with the aftermath. They'll be in the following, like, these two
the
firefighters. And one is the chief.
We have the fire chief. We have this other one of his... another firefighter, one of his subordinates. And we're mostly following them... through Luca's eyes.
Yeah.
Is it Luke or Luca?
Luke.
And we're watching them through Luke's eyes as they're going around and helping people as they're they rescue that little girl from under the rubble. And that horror tries to kill them. And then Luke shows up and he kills the horror. They get her out, but she's not responsive.
That gave a lot to the firefighter's character 9-year immediately. Because he did not focus on the horror that tried to kill him. No, he still has to get this little girl out, who they think ended up dying.
And then the chief is like, "Don't give up yet!" And he uses CPR, he resuscitates her. But oh man, that gut punch later.
When you find out
the chief, sadly, he lost his life in the line of duty.
Yeah.
Rubble collapsed on him.
Yeah. And I sit here like, how dare you?
And the subordinate is just like weeping on his knees in front of his picture on like a sea of flowers for like all the victims.
Like, everybody else is there.
And then the little girl comes up and gives him some flowers, and it's like, you know what? This doesn't feel manipulative. It's emotional payoff that feels earned.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about this show that works. And I can't help but wonder if it's because it was directed by somebody who wasn't Japanese. And I don't know, it's just like that Japanese sensibility, the way they like to lean into, you need to feel this emotion, or they like to just pile on the misery porn.
Yeah.
And then in this one, it's just like, no, we're going to give things the time they need. Mm-hmm. We're going to give our characters the time they need to breathe, to recover. We're going to pay attention to their mental health and address trauma and let the other characters help them through it.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible to see, because that's something we rarely ever get. Mm-hmm. And it was just so good.
And then you get characters... Like, I love Luke whenever he shows up. Because he comes off as, like, super stoic, bastard man at the beginning. And then, he ends up going out and, like, especially being away from everybody else. Yeah. He just gets his own
because he's a loner and he's off trying to do his own thing.
And at the same time get revenge for his mother because his dad is Knight.
Yeah.
So
How did you feel about him getting his look changed about halfway through the show? Because I actually thought that was a pretty good idea.
It was a very good idea because it actually showed that the character was able to let go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, not hold on to a whole bunch of guilt.
To me, it almost felt like the story. It almost felt like the story was going, "Yeah, that's a little stupid. Let's change your look." Just a little bit.
He was a little bit of an edgelord.
Because it was like the black trench coat with the collar that goes up past his nose, the ponytail, and then like all that gets cut away.
I want to go back a little bit because there are some of the things, like you end up having that whole supporting cast with the diner and the Chinese food restaurant.
Yeah.
That Sword
Mei Fang at the Chinese restaurant, and the guy, the old man who's in charge of the Chinese restaurant,
is
an alchemist.
Priest.
An alchemist, yeah. They called him alchemist in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is a little weird, but...
I guess they moved away a little bit from the religious imagery, because the lady who's like in charge of the diner is the same one
the
from...
waitress.
The first... No, not her. The actual lady who you see behind like the counter thing is the one from like the head of the, I guess the Makai Council, wherever.
Yeah.
From the first anime.
Mm-hmm.
You never actually see her, but you hear her voice and you see a silhouette of her, so it's the same character.
And they refer to the boss.
Yeah.
When they refer to the boss, that's who they're talking about.
I just love the fact that after the city is more or less destroyed, you see like Mei Fang and the others just like really helping out and giving out food to people.
Yep.
And the diner just over there still giving out food to people and stuff. I was just like, I love the fact that this location has character.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, let's focus on X and keep going to
let's have another fight scene.
Yeah. It's like, no, we're actually going to give a lot of characterization to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate the fact that this story decided to go in that
Even the horrors and the monsters of the week, they have a lot of character.
Yeah.
Like
they really do.
Like episode 4 in particular is one that really springs to mind because that's our first like real monster of the week that we get, and it's the woman who was abused by her brother.
Oh
who
yeah,
was the priest.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they're able to tie that into Sophie's story is really good.
Yeah.
And, once again, Sword's there to help her out. I think the monster designs in this show are incredible.
I want to talk about episode 2 really quickly.
Okay.
And the reason I want to talk about episode 2, how often do you see a black person in anime?
Not often.
Not often enough, and how often do you see more than one?
And it happens quite a bit throughout this show. Like, one of the main characters in episode 10 is the chief.
Yeah.
And it's just like, with this one, the bad guy...
Because it's set in, like, pseudo-America, so it is a much more racially diverse...
You're not having the horror
you usually see.
In this episode is a black guy, and then I guess his girlfriend or wife.
Do you know what this reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of the runner... Do you remember the world record segment from Animatrix?
Yes.
That's what he kind of reminded me of.
Yeah.
The way he was animated, like when he becomes a horror, the hair, the design, everything. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
I thought, like,
I've never seen
and that's
Animatrix.
a good thing.
I've never seen Animatrix.
Oh, watch it. It's great.
It has its moments.
I like it a lot.
I'm one of the people who thought The Matrix was good, but I don't think it deserved all the hype it got. No, Animatrix, I hear, is the actual like thing that deserves all the hype, but I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah, I love the, like, especially the more you go along, it's just like there's a lot more racial diversity in this. So I think I appreciated that a lot more. And getting to, especially when you get to see Luke be freaking Spider-Man throughout most of that episode. Like magical Spider-Man. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun seeing something like that, especially on the screen. Mappa does that actually quite a bit. They do a lot of racial diversity in their shows. I really appreciated what they did here. But yeah, then when we end up getting to El Dorado and I love that. I think the smartest thing that they did, especially when you had to deal with somebody like Bishop, who they don't kill by the end of the show, that really hopes that we get a season 4.
This show is left open for a sequel.
Yeah,
for a sequel season.
Wanted to get one. But that first episode where you follow this random horror who comes into El Dorado thinking that he can take the whole thing away from King.
Yeah. That's the one of the episodes I wasn't too hot on.
I actually liked it because it set it up so it wasn't the main characters having to deal with these, I guess, lieutenants at this point.
A way to like set up our villains without having them directly come into contact with our heroes. Yeah. I can see that.
And I was just like... that whole scene where he ends up fighting Queen and Bishop at the end just loses. Because his own what's the word I'm looking for? Hubris.
Yeah.
Caught up to him very quickly.
Yeah.
And then he just gets destroyed by Knight at the end because Knight's just walking around the city, as he does.
Yeah. Not like he's got much else to do.
Yeah.
Except be evil.
Pretty much. And then, finding Sophie's... That scene where she was speaking to him after they end up falling into that thing.
Mm-hmm.
With all the people's souls and stuff in there.
Goodness gracious, it's such
and
a
then
visual.
Sophie's just like the people who have turned evil in the city are all horrors, but her brother isn't one yet.
Yeah,
he was still very naive as to what they were making.
Yeah, because he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, she starts to choke him out. I'm just
after they get out of the whole simulation, and she's just on top of him, just choking him to death because of everything that he's done.
My pearls have been clutched.
Uh-huh.
And then he gets destroyed later on. Well, the ring that he has on... I guess the ring is the thing that sets up the entirety of the show. Because Knight finds it first, more or less. And then Bishop and Queen come along later and start building the city of El Dorado. Because the ring that controls horrors is King itself.
Yep.
And then that ring just takes her brother over.
They needed his computer skills to... construct El Dorado, and specifically the El Dorado central computer that would feed the king.
Yeah. And there was a little, a mishap years beforehand with Sword's sister, who we actually were meeting.
Her inclusion was one of the things that I was kind of iffy about.
Yeah, same.
Because she just kind of shows up in the simulation, and then there's some sort of hasty explanation of yeah, I
got backed up.
I got backed up. Garo bloodline,
Bullshit.
Golden Knight bloodline. I'm here. Blah 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 blah. And it's just whatever.
You sure are here, man.
I rolled with the punches, but it's that could have been done better.
That was the weakest part of the show.
That was one of the weaker parts of the show.
I did the episode after the motel in the middle of nowhere where they just leave the mother and her son just out in the middle of the desert, where it goes full Mad Max.
Yeah.
I love that. I loved it so much. Because I'm just like, you know what?
Where's the Doof Warrior?
I was just like, you know what? Why not? So we have Garo just going against a whole bunch of tankers.
He's going up against Lord Humongous and his men.
Gina just out there with Sophie shooting down.
With the minigun shooting down the big old manta ray horrors.
And Luke shows up on his bike and helps. I'm just like, I love this. I think that was a fun episode. Solely because it just didn't care. And then that's also when Zarba sacrifices himself.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
Matt.
He comes back later.
Are there any episodes that stuck out to you?
Honestly, no. And after talking to you guys, I think I need to rewatch this. The issue is that because of the lack of free time that I have these days, I was watching this show during my slow times at work, which this week were few and far between. So I did not pay as much attention as I should have.
Fair enough. Was there anything that really stuck out to you when you were able to watch it?
Nothing that you guys haven't already talked about.
Okay.
And sorry.
That's fair enough.
And like I said before we started recording, I'm trying not to talk as much.
Right. I don't want to make you talk too much, but I know, Matt, you're a man who appreciates a great action scene. What did you think of the action in this show?
It was definitely above average. I've seen
off of the last season.
We don't talk about that.
What was with the CGI in that show? It's there was definitely I think it's two different.
We're not talking about the show.
I think it's two different production companies, but Mappa does very well with their partial CGI action scenes.
No, I thought the action was very good. I can't think of a moment that made me go, holy fuck, off the top of my head. Mainly because I've been watching that and trying to find another anime for my free time because I have been watching a lot less anime lately and I need to fix that.
I think...
Action anime recommendations in the comments below, please. I could use some help.
I think one of my favorite, just because of action scenes, because weirdly enough, a lot of swords...
Give Animatrix a shot.
I need a series on a movie.
A lot of swords action scenes happen out of suit, but I guess when you're that big, do you really need your suit?
Can we talk about him punching away a bullet?
I was going to mention that! The dude shot at him, sword turned around, punches the bullet, and the dude just puts his gun on the ground and goes, okay.
All of them run away.
The dude pretty much just put his gun on the ground and said,
nope.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry.
I'm leaving. Everybody just leave.
Respecto.
We need to make that a thing with our channel. Every time something awesome happens.
Well, I got that from Island Dogs. That's alright.
I don't care.
I just love that.
No, I love it.
That was the most bullshit thing that could have happened in this show, and they were just like, you know what? I don't care.
You know, one of the things I love is the way it's like when an episode starts off and they get to that seaside town, you'd think, oh, this is going to be a filler episode where Sophie's mad at him the whole time for eating their chocolate.
Yeah.
And they're just going to be grumpy at each other, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be some crime boss they're going to have to take care of. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
They managed to take the parallel of Pedro, the guy who's trying to get revenge for his girlfriend that got killed.
Yeah.
And they used that as a way to delve into Sword's backstory, and that's when we first find out about his sister Lizzie.
Yeah.
And all the while...
Well, she was mentioned earlier, but this is the first time
this is the first time we've ever seen her, and we see that, you know, he vowed to protect her after they lost their parents, and then she tragically died, and how he's dedicated himself to that, and how he sees a little bit of himself in Pedro, and how he, you know, takes a moment to, you know, he helps him out. And we also have some nice scenes with Gina and Sophie where we get some good character development with them. They do a lot of good subtle things with characters.
We haven't talked about Gina that much, but
I liked her a lot.
I liked her a lot, but at the same time, she's the one who gets the least in the show. We don't really get a backstory for her.
We don't, but I don't know that we needed it.
I
think what they gave her was more than appropriate.
I think my thing is, and this will always happen whenever we end up watching something girl related, and you know we end up having the female lead. How good is she in comparison to Jabby? That's always the bar, because Jabby's always up here.
Maybe for you, maybe.
Sorry.
I try to judge everything.
I was going to get up and walk away in frustration that you brought her up somehow.
I love Jabby.
And my foot kicked his mouse out of his laptop by accident.
Yeah, that's always like...
But I think Gina is one of the better female co-leads we've had in Garo.
But can she kick somebody behind her head?
Well, we know she can kick ass.
Yeah.
She's very capable of handling herself.
Fair enough.
And I think as far as her not getting... We don't see any flashbacks. We don't really see her as a kid. But I think the show gives you enough. I think the show does a good enough job of... Because when she gets to the Alchemist Village, and she has to go on that, you know, like personal trial, where she has to, like, pass a trial to...
Yeah, because
to get the stone and whatnot.
I did love that whole scene. Like the first time you end up seeing her, and she goes full Britney Spears toxic with all the lasers and dodging all the lasers, like full spy mode.
Dodging lasers, using that bow and arrow, and then using the spears,
and then using her sex appeal to like get through stuff. And I'm just like, I approve of you. I think you're great.
I approve of her very much.
Go girl,
Respectful.
go off.
Respectful.
But yeah, I mean. I think the smartest thing that this show did to make sure that people don't panic is use Luke's rain thing to wipe people's memories, which they do on Sophie.
I got Fantastic Beast flashbacks from that.
A little bit, yeah.
Because for anyone who hasn't seen it, the end of the first one, there's obliviating rain at the end.
That doesn't work on the Muggle main character
for similar reasons. It doesn't work here because there's a thing that like
it only takes away bad memories, and I didn't have any bad memories. Blah blah blah.
Well, I think
it was a little
more complicated than that, but that's kind of.
I don't want to say more complicated than that.
I think
it just worked out a little differently than they portrayed it, I guess.
Because a couple of times they made sure that Sophie was inside or under an umbrella or something, so she couldn't get hit by the rain.
Yeah,
the umbrella.
I really didn't like
Damn it.
the ending. By that I mean the second half of the last episode.
Oh, where it's a year later?
Where we cut to 1 year later, and she lost her memory, and only for her to immediately get it back in the course of a few minutes, you know, due to editing. And she meets Gina at the diner, and then we see Luke. We see that he is now the Silver Knight. So definitely,
he took his dad's.
Definitely, we can play with more there if we ever decide to do a sequel.
And he's in France.
Yeah, he's in France.
Because you see the Eiffel Tower.
There's the Eiffel Tower, just like, hey, what's up? I'm there.
And then you think that Sword died at the end of the episode, but nope.
Because he got trapped in the other dimension with Knight.
Yeah.
So.
And then he somehow got out. And then you think that he died because Gina was decided.
The music is swelling, and when we see this montage of where all these characters have gone, and then Sophie's in her monologue. Don't worry, Sword. I'll see you someday. We hear a toilet flush. The music cuts. Sword comes out of the bathroom.
He's like, they tried a new recipe on me.
The boss used me to test a new menu item. Oh, my stomach.
And then they see each other, and Sword's like,
and it's like,
honestly,
and then he just kind of goes, "Excuse me," and just goes back inside.
Honestly,
and then it just cuts to black and we end.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
I love that part. I think that part of the ending because it's completely within Sword's character.
It's within his character, but I was hoping for something a little more happy.
What else are you going to get out of Sword?
A little more emotional. A little more.
He had the runs.
I know he did.
Hold on. Let me see if I understand this straight, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
What?
Not 10 minutes ago, you were bashing shoving emotions in your face. Now you want
not
shoved in your face.
There is a difference, and you know.
I was like, but it works only for Sword.
I did not like the whole memory erase 1 year later time skip.
That's
I thought that was a really stupid idea.
I can give you that.
Why didn't I wish they had just. I mean, if we had just fast forwarded to like a week or two later, and then they had ended it that way regardless, I feel like I would have been okay.
A year here's the thing. A year allows stuff to change. 2 weeks. I mean, major stuff like
getting the Silver Knight,
and everything.
Bishop deciding where he wants to go.
Seeing
next.
how the orphanage is doing.
That stuff like that requires.
Yeah, because it took a whole year for them to get somebody else to take over the orphanage.
Yeah.
I think the problem with the issue that you have,
Sophie
and please, this is just my interpretation, is that being told it's a year doesn't really go in your head that so much time has passed. Because for you, from your perspective, it's been 10 minutes, not 12 months. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I still think it's a bad choice, and I wish they'd have done it better.
I thought it was.
Let me ask you this: if instead of that being the ending of this season, what if it was the first episode of the sequel series that comes out this year? It's been 4 years since the show aired. Mm-hmm. If that was the first episode of the next season of the sequel, would that work better?
That maybe would have been better, but that isn't what happened. So
but do you understand why I'm asking you this hypothetical? Because for you, time has passed, as opposed to it being 10 minutes.
Well, true enough.
By the way, I found this on your floor.
Oh, yeah.
This is number 1, Dad.
It does.
Is there something you need to tell me?
No, it was my grandfather's.
Got it.
He gave it to me when he gave me their house key, and I don't know why.
Maybe it's just preparation for the future.
Not a chance.
No, it is not.
Not a chance in heaven. Woo, no.
I mean, maybe he gets a pet. Maybe he becomes a pet dad. You never know.
That's fair. That is the best we'll get out of him.
It's true.
And if it's a pet, it might be a fish.
Fish or
but yes, I really enjoyed this show. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the characters were good. I thought the story was good. Getting to El Dorado, having that whole scene, having a possible setup for another season. Because we haven't gotten anything Garo related. We had the movie and Vanishing Line since then. Mm-hmm. So I would love another season of the anime to come out next.
We'll see.
I wonder what's more expensive to produce, the anime or a live action show?
It depends.
Yeah, it depends on how far you want to end up going.
Fair enough.
Another thing that I really liked, I mentioned this earlier, but the fight, like things like you don't see the fight.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about, like that big one that Sword and Knight have.
When they first meet.
In the last couple of episodes, it's around the time where King first reveals himself. I remember thinking to myself, because what happens is Sword and crew, they escape out of El Dorado, and they just regroup and reformulate a plan, and then the next episode is when
all the big fights
when it really starts to go down.
They beat Queen.
A dumber show, that's when the fight would have started, and it just would have gone on for the next 3 episodes. Yeah. That's what a dumber show would have done. But once again, it's like, nope, we're going to take a moment. We're going to take a moment. We're going to let our characters regroup because our characters
what went wrong.
Well, nothing. It's not
That's
so
pretty much exactly what
not so much what went wrong, but what do we do next? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I love the characters. I love the relationships they have with each other. Sword and Sophie. It's that like father-daughter surrogate stuff. I love
working Luke and Gina into that.
Working Luke and Gina into that. I love the way Gina is able to play off of Sophie and Sword as well. It's just
there
great.
are a couple of small things in this.
Mm-hmm.
You probably remember because you just played it. When they go to the gas station, and it's the same girl from the diner. I'm just like she has like those really skimpy shorts on. Like she just like Sid from 15.
I was thinking the same thing.
Jesus.
She's wearing more clothes. She's wearing less clothes than Cindy was, but yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I just thought that was hilarious because it's the same girl.
Yeah.
In every single one.
I mean, she's got the short blonde hair.
Yeah. Ugh. I was like, that's hilarious.
Short jean shorts.
I think they just cloned her and just went along with it. I thought it was great.
Wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, this show was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Definite recommend.
Yes, absolutely.
Like we said, don't watch season 2. Just watch seasons 1 and 3 and you'll be good. Next time
on Tokucast.
For episode 106, it'll just be me and you.
Ultraman Zetto.
Yep, we're doing Zetto, and then we're going to do a little bit older stuff.
And Matt's like, yeah, I get a week off.
Yep.
He needs it.
After that, we'll be doing Uchi Keiji Gaden.
Oh, I forgot to check that Twitter poll I put up.
And then
we're not doing Zubat next?
We're doing Zubat after Gavin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I cannot wait to watch Zubat. Actually, you know what? We're going to do Zubat first.
Okay.
I want to do some weirdness. I want some weird shit.
Me too.
Oh, wow. That poll switched real overnight.
What poll is this?
I put a... for anybody who's watching this, actually, never mind. The poll will be done by the time this comes out. Shit.
It comes out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's going to be done in 6 hours. I put a poll on Twitter what game I should stream next. Final Fantasy X or Dragon Quest XI. When I went to bed last night, Dragon Quest was winning by a landslide, and now it's the other way around.
Oh, you're going to start 10? That'll be a fun one.
God.
So terrible. But yeah, join us next time when we...
It's amazing to see how far voice acting has come in video games.
It's been 20 years.
I know.
This year.
My, how far we've come.
Yeah. But yeah, join us next time as we do Ultraman Zepto.
Bye, everybody.
Don't forget to join us in all the things.
Thank you for watching.